I had some homies at school that are really hard-headed because they came up to me and they asked, hey, JT, do you like Notre Dame to cover the spread against Navy? I told them, hell yeah. And it was like, well, we don't. You know, Navy almost beat Notre Dame the last time they played, and Notre Dame, they're not that great. And I said, okay, y'all sleeping on Sam Hartman, and they didn't even really know who Sam Hartman was, and they lost some money. And I gladly told them, once this game was over, I told you so. You should have listened. And for you people that are down in Notre Dame, you better start taking this team really serious, okay? Because they got a quarterback now. That's the biggest problem that has held this program back for winning a championship is quarterback play. They've always had solid quarterbacks. They never had great transcendent quarterback play. Sam Hartman, he's not Caleb Williams, but this dude is a top 10 quarterback in college football, and he's trying to make it to the NFL. And him transferring from Wake Forest to Notre Dame was really big for him because now we get to see what he can do in a pro-style offense. And he looks really freaking fantastic. He threw 4 touchdowns, no picks, and he just looked flawless back there. And even though this is Navy, a team that probably won't be that good this year, you know, Notre Dame hasn't really had a quarterback performance this dominant in the game that I can recall in a while. I mean, Ian Book was solid, but I mean, you never really had a quarterback that threw 4 touchdowns in the season opener for Notre Dame. Sam Hartman is the real deal. And I know this is just a week 0 game. People are going to say you overreacting. Fam, there are certain quarterbacks in college football that when you can see them being productive at a certain place for a long period of time, it doesn't really matter where they go. Like Sam Hartman could have went anywhere. He could have went to Alabama, still been good. You feel me? He could have went to Clemson, still been good. It's like when you're a good quarterback, it doesn't matter where you go. You're going to be a good quarterback regardless. Sam Hartman is a really good college football quarterback. And I really like how well he stood inside the pocket and delivered the football in this game, especially under pressure. There were certain moments in this game where he was showing way more athleticism than what I initially thought he had. He made one guy miss, stepped up, found the guy for a touchdown. Like, Sam Hartman is the real deal. And now that Notre Dame has a legitimate quarterback, there's not a single team that they can't beat. They can beat Ohio State. Okay, they can beat Clemson. They can beat USC. We just seen USC's defense, and many people aren't thrilled with what we saw. And you mean to tell me that you don't think Sam Hartman and this Notre Dame offense with these receivers can't hang 40 on that USC defense? Jaden Thomas, Jalen Greathouse, they were really fantastic in this game. And the knock on Notre Dame for years has been the lack of talent they supposedly have not had at the wide out position. Now, even though they're not wide receiver U like at LSU or Alabama, they are good for putting a wide receiver or 2 into the league. They got Miles Boykin, Chase Claypool, Will Fuller. Like, there are guys who have been some solid productive receivers in the NFL that have come from Notre Dame. And I think that Jaden Thomas is most likely going to be that next Notre Dame wideout that makes it to the National Football League. Really good frame, good athleticism, and his route running has tremendously improved from last season. So I think that he's going to be a big time player on this Fighting Irish offense this year. I think that he potentially could put up 1,000-yard season, maybe have around 50, 60 receptions, and he can be one of the better wide receivers in college football this year. Now, that running back that they add, Aldrick Estime, my bad. I don't really know how to pronounce it that well, but he was snapping. 16 carries. He was averaging 6 yards per attempt. This dude was literally averaging a first down every 2 carries. Do you know how impressive that is? And this dude is a freight train. Really good acceleration, really good at breaking tackles in the open field. He can run through you. He can also give you a couple of moves or 2. This dude runs with a lot of juice. Now, this defense held Navy to 169 total yards of offense, which I know a lot of people aren't going to give Notre Dame a lot of credit for how their defense played in this game, because there's going to be people that say, oh, well, they had all off season to prepare for Navy. Okay, cool. But I mean, you want to see your defense come out and dominate against an inferior opponent. And that's what Notre Dame's defense did in this game. And this defense, they got a lot of athleticism on their defensive line. Their defensive line is probably top 5, top 10 this season. There's a lot of athletic monsters that they have. They got a lot of NFL bodies on that defensive line. Their secondary isn't too shabby neither. This is one of the better Notre Dame teams that we've seen in a very long time. And the only reason why I'm not going to jump the gun and try to say they're a national championship contender is because they do have Marcus Freeman in his second year as a head coach. And I do think that, you know, for some coaches, you get a Sonny Dykes that'll just break the mold. But for most head coaches, it takes a while to, you know, get into that national championship conversation. But the way Notre Dame does look, it looks like they are going to be a good enough team where they could pull off a win against Ohio State or Clemson. Hell, they smashed Clemson last year. They beat the shit out of Clemson. So, I mean, Notre Dame, now that they got a quarterback, I feel like this legitimizes them. Honestly, like, you can't say Notre Dame's overrated anymore. They got a legit quarterback back there, and they've always had talent. They got the best offensive line in college football, or one of the best in college football, depending on who you ask. So Notre Dame, man, y'all better start taking the Irish really serious, bro. Because y'all keep on betting against Notre Dame, and y'all gonna be SOL when they end up making you lose money. You're gonna be looking foolish, man. You gotta stop judging teams based on narratives. You got to judge teams based on what you actually see with your 2 eyeballs and not what you saw last year. Last year is last year. Who gives a flying F about what the hell has happened to Notre Dame in the playoffs, bro? Let's talk about 2023. They got Sam motherfucking Hartman.